Both Democrats and Republicans are concerned, though, about 81-year-old Joe Biden's ability to serve a second term. But in a new interview, Jill says they're looking at his age all wrong.
Your husband is 81. At the end of a second term, he'd be 86. As his life partner of 46 years, is there a part of you that is worried about his age and health? Can he do it?
He can do it, and I see Joe every day. I see him out, traveling around this country. I see his vigor. I see his energy. I see his passion every single day.
Mm-hmm. So to those who say, I can't vote for Joe Biden, he's too old, what do you say?
I say his age is an asset.
Aha! He's wise.
Yes, he's wise. He has wisdom. He has experience. He knows every leader on the world stage. He's lived history. He knows history. Mm-hmm. He's thoughtful in his decisions. He is the right man or the right person for the job at this moment in history.
So First Lady Jill Biden sees vigor and energy. America sees this, and we'll put it up. This is Jill Biden escorting her husband off the stage, which we've seen time and time again. And that's a poll, Bill. We were going to put that up a little later. But Bill, I will say, I watched this entire interview this morning. She's a very effective surrogate. I anticipate she'll be out there a lot. The words she said were very, very good, but it can't erase the images that Americans have seen.
Yeah, here's what I was saying. I'll make it quick. I love my parents. They're wise. They're funny. They're smart. They give great advice. And they're also 84 years old, okay? I don't want my parents anywhere near the Oval Office. Now, you could make the case that, there are others in their 80s who are still vibrant. I mean, we just looked at Belichick and Bob Kraft, and you talked about Pete Carroll and how much energy he has as a coach. Lost his job yesterday. Mm-hmm. But you got to put your foot down somewhere, okay? Yeah. Mom and Dad, I love you in case you're watching. All right, it's all good. Oh, but I just, I would vote for you at home, but not
You're in so much trouble right now.
No, I'm not. Look
at Emily's face. We're all in shock right now.
They're fine with this, believe me.
I love you, Mr. and Mrs. Hemmer.
Yeah, I did too. It's an acuity issue too. I mean, Ruth Bader Ginsburg served, very well. Her mind was sharp as a whip up until, late in her days. But look, Tammy, I would say this. The American people agree with Bill Hemmer. 55% say he is too old to be president. 21% somewhat disagree. But the media, they try to convince us otherwise. Here's Newsweek. Joe Biden appears to be a super ager, doctors say. A super ager is someone who retains the acuity of people decades younger well into their 80s. America doesn't see it.
Yeah, they don't. And I worry, is that how 50 and 60-year-olds are behaving? I hope not. But look, we know that the presidency is not a one-person job, right? You've got a whole big team of people. But the difference between, as an example, the Trump administration and this one shows us that individual matters, right? The energy level, right, the dynamic, the vision of it, being a pressure point within larger conversations. So we know that. I think what's insulting here is that Americans are seeing something different. Their messaging from the First Lady presumes that we just don't know. It's the same messaging as saying the border is closed or the world is in better shape now than it ever was before. But the larger issue, beyond what the voters see, our enemies see this. And they aren't caring what Jill Biden says. So this has a national security implication. And I've been against this argument that age is a problem, because it is about experience and knowledge and everything else. Nancy Pelosi, you can put into that category. She's been fine.
Yes.
So this is what they don't want to diagnose him. They want to say it's age. That is a mistake. Even Nikki Haley's argument of a new generation. That's a mistake. So what, you want AOC to be the president? No, you don't. So it's individual by individual, and clearly Biden has a problem, but this is their effort to try to assuage those concerns, and they'll fail.
Yeah, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I just looked at 87 years old and still authoring Supreme Court opinions.
Sure.
But Harris, so listen to this. Joe Biden had some thoughts on Hunter Biden.
How have you been coping personally with the onslaught of accusations against your husband and your family, including and especially Hunter, as the focus of a House Oversight Committee hearing, holding him in contempt, obsessing over him, showing pictures of him during vulnerable moments in his battle with addiction on the floor of the House? This would crush any family.
Mika, I think what they are doing to Hunter is cruel. And I'm really proud of how Hunter has rebuilt his life after addiction. You know, I love my son, and it's hurt my grandchildren. And that's what I'm so concerned about, that it's affecting their lives as well.
You know what? I believe that she believes that. Like, that's coming from the heart. I totally get it. The problem is Hunter Biden owes $1.4 million in taxes. He's in court today. The gun charges against him are serious. Anybody else would have been put in prison for what he did. Lying on an application about your drug use so you can buy a weapon. I mean, she's downplaying what he's done. I don't know if he was sober or not, but getting sober doesn't mean that you don't have to pay the government back $1.4 million. Ask anybody who's ever come into contact with the IRS as it goes after them. You could owe them $50. They don't give up. Now, the point with him and his age, you know, my grandmother passed 3 weeks shy of her 101st. Could she have run the country? No. But she ran us. She was doing everything else. She was
did her
sentient.
job.
It was, yeah, I mean, she was amazing right up until the day the Lord called her home. We are all called divinely to do different things. But if my husband had to collect me by my wrist, like when I leave a purse in a restaurant, have to go back and grab it, I'd know it was time to move on and go do something different.
Right.
And if she thinks the rest of us can't see that, I know how much she loves him. But the question isn't also about him. We don't know when we're lied to. Look at the SecDef. Now the Inspector General is investigating the vanishing of the Secretary of Defense, and the White House didn't even know for days.
That's right.
So there's a lot going on. We aren't going to get a litmus on, you know, what it's like on a good day for the president versus a bad day and all the information in between. It'll be a secret.
And Emily, to the Hunter point, I mean, look, they're trying to make this about his addiction. It's not about his addiction. And I didn't see the same level of empathy for the Trump children who did answer their subpoenas, whose grandchildren, I'm sure, have gone through all kinds of things watching what's happening to their grandfather. I've never heard empathy on that side.
Of course, it is always a double standard, and there is nothing cruel about holding someone accountable for their actions and their behavior. And there's nothing cruel about demanding as an American citizen that your government has some type of not only accountability, but transparency, that there's no corruption, that maybe there's no foreign powers that have influence. I mean, get out of here with that being cruel. Look, wives are going to wife. Professors are going to profess, moms are going to mom. So that is what Jill Biden is doing, and that's great, as she should. But I don't feel like being told from someone, you don't know how hard he works, about the commander-in-chief. This isn't about a 7th grader. We're not talking about a student. You know how I need to see how hard he works in his policies and in the affect. I need to hear and feel that my troops are safe, that my loved ones are safe while they are deployed, that our border is secure, and that my tax dollars are being invested wisely. The stewardship is sound. So her placations and explanations do not ring at all with me. And by the way, all those polls asking about age, I take issue with the wording. It has nothing to do with age.
Right.
Fix all the verbs, fix all the words, and have it say, what about his mental acuity? What about his competence? That'll give us the real numbers.
And not to mention how hard the American people have to work to combat Biden inflation and the housing prices. They work hard.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kayleigh McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.